Imagine falling in love with someone at a magical ball, dancing under chandeliers, losing yourself in their eyes, and then watching them disappear at midnight, leaving you with nothing but a memory and burning question: will you ever find them? Again, this is not just a fairy tale. This is the story that will unfold in Bridgerton Season 4. And the woman at the center of it all is about to steal your heart, just as she steals Benedict Bridgerton. And her name is Sophie Baek, and she is unlike any leading lady we have seen in the Bridgerton universe before. Get ready to meet the servant girl with a secret, the mystery woman in silver, and the one person who will change Benedict Bridgerton forever. Bridgerton Season 4 is finally bringing us the love story we have all been waiting for, and at its heart is Sophie Baek, a character who embodies everything we love about classic romance with a modern twist. If you have read the books, you know that Season 4 is based on the third novel in Julia Quinn's series, An Offer from a Gentleman, which tells the tale of Benedict Bridgerton, the artistic and sensitive second son of the Bridgerton family. But this is not just Benedict's story. This is Sophie's story too, and she is about to become one of the most beloved characters in the entire series. Sophie Baek is special because her story is inspired by one of the most timeless fairy tales ever told, Cinderella. But this is Bridgerton's version, which means it comes with all the drama, passion, scandal, and heartbreak that we expect from the 10. Sophie is a young woman caught between two worlds, never fully belonging to either, and her journey is one of courage, survival, and ultimately finding where she truly belongs. What makes Sophie so compelling is that she is not a typical Regency romance heroine. She is not a debutante looking for a wealthy husband. She is not a lady of society playing the marriage market games. Sophie is a servant, working in the shadows of the very world she was born into but can never claim, yet beneath her, humble circumstances lies a spirit that refuses to be broken, a heart that dares to dream, and a soul that recognizes true love when it finds her on a moonlit dance floor. Sophie represents every person who has ever felt invisible, every dreamer told they are reaching to high, and every heart that believes love can conquer even the cruelest circumstances. And when she meets Benedict Bridgerton at a masquerade ball, both of their lives change forever. To understand Sophie Baek, you need to understand the tragedy and injustice that shaped her life from the very beginning. Sophie is the illegitimate daughter of an earl, born from a love affair that society would never accept. Her mother was not married to her father, which in the strict world of Regency England meant that Sophie would never be recognized, never be claimed, and never be given the life she deserved by birth. This is the cruel reality that defines everything about Sophie's existence. When her mother dies, Sophie is left alone in a world that sees her as nothing more than a mistake, a reminder of scandal. Her father, the earl, does not publicly acknowledge her, though he provides for her in secret. She grows up knowing who she is, but never being allowed to claim that identity. She lives in her father's household, but not as a daughter. She is treated as less than, constantly reminded of her place, especially by her stepmother and stepsisters who resent her very presence. The parallels to Cinderella are clear. But Sophie's story is darker, more realistic, and far more painful after her father passes away. Whatever small protection Sophie had disappears completely. Her stepmother wastes no time in reducing Sophie to the role of a servant in what was once her own home. Sophie goes from being a hidden daughter to becoming a maid, scrubbing floors, serving the very people who should have been her equals. Yet, through all of this, Sophie does not become bitter. She does not lose her kindness or her gentle spirit. She endures with grace and dignity, holding on to her dreams even when the world tells her she has no right to dream at all. What makes Sophie truly remarkable is her strength. She could have given up, accepted her fate, and lived a life of quiet desperation. Instead, she finds small moments of joy, holds onto hope, and refuses to let her circumstances define her worth. She knows she is more than what society says she is even if she is the only one who believes it. Asterisk, picture this. One night, just one single night, where you can be anyone you want to be. Where masks hide your identity, and for a few precious hours, the rules that cage you simply disappear. For Sophie Baek, this night arrives like a gift from the universe itself. Her stepmother is hosting a grand masquerade ball, the kind of event where the entire town gathers in their finest clothes, hidden behind elaborate masks. Sophie is not invited, of course. She is meant to stay in the servants' quarters, invisible as always. But fate has other plans, with the help of a kind friend. Sophie does something she has never done before. She borrows a beautiful silver gown that shimmers like moonlight on water. She creates a mask that conceals her face, and for the first time in her life, she steps into the world where she truly belongs, not as a servant, not as an illegitimate daughter, but simply as a woman at a ball. Nobody knows who she is. Nobody can judge her. She is free. Then, across the crowded ballroom, she sees him. Benedict Bridgerton, standing alone, looking slightly bored with the evening's festivities. Their eyes meet, and something electric passes between them. He approaches her. He asks her to dance. And in that moment, as they move together across the dance floor, something magical happens. They talk, they laugh, they connect in a way that feels like destiny. Benedict is captivated by this mysterious woman in silver who speaks with intelligence and wit, who sees the world differently, who makes him feel truly seen for the first time. They spend the entire evening together, lost in each other, forgetting about everyone else in the room. Benedict falls completely under her spell, but Sophie knows this is borrowed time. As midnight approaches, reality comes crashing back. She cannot stay. She cannot reveal who she is. If he discovers she is a servant, the magic will shatter. So, she does what Cinderella did. She runs, leaving Benedict standing alone, desperately calling after her, not even knowing her name. Asterisk, Benedict Bridgerton becomes a man obsessed. He cannot forget the woman in silver who disappeared into the night like a dream he is not sure really happened. He searches everywhere for her, asking questions, following every possible lead. Refusing to give up, he knows in his soul that she is the woman he is meant to spend his life with. But London is vast, and a woman who does not want to be found can vanish completely, especially when she has every reason to hide. Months pass. Benedict's family watches him pine for this mystery woman, worried that he is chasing a ghost. But Benedict cannot move on. He sketches her face from memory over and over, trying to capture the way she looked at him, the curve of her smile, the light in her eyes. Every woman he meets is compared to her and found wanting. His heart belongs to someone he cannot find, and it is slowly breaking him. Then comes the twist that makes this story absolutely brilliant. Through a series of circumstances, Sophie is forced to leave her stepmother's household. She has nothing. No money, no references, nowhere to go. She finds work as a lady's maid in another household, grateful just to have a roof over her head and food to eat. She tries to forget that magical night, telling herself it was just a beautiful dream that could never be real. And then, by pure chance, by the cruelest irony fate could design, Benedict Bridgerton walks into her life again. But here is the heartbreaking part. Sophie is not wearing a silver gown and a mask anymore. She is dressed in a plain servant's uniform, her hair tucked away, her eyes downcast as a maid should be. And Benedict, looking right at her, does not recognize her. How could he? The woman he fell in love with was a mysterious lady at a ball. This is just a servant, part of the background, invisible. Sophie realizes with crushing certainty that the man she loves is standing 3 feet away and has no idea who she is. Asterisk, this is where Sophie's story becomes more than just a romance. This is where it transforms into something that speaks to anyone who has ever felt trapped by circumstances they did not choose. The central conflict of Sophie and Benedict's story is not just about finding each other. It is about whether love can truly conquer the massive walls that society builds between people? Can a second son of a noble family marry a servant? Can Benedict choose love over duty, over reputation, over everything his world tells him is proper? And can Sophie risk revealing the truth when doing so might destroy the very thing she wants most? The class divide between them is not just a small obstacle. It is an ocean, wide and deep and seemingly impossible to cross. Benedict's mother, the formidable Violet Bridgerton, would never approve of her son marrying a maid. Society would mock him, shun him, perhaps even cast him out. His family's reputation could suffer. Everything Benedict has known his entire life tells him that this path leads to ruin, yet his heart tells him something completely different. His heart tells him that Sophie is worth any price, any sacrifice, any consequence. For Sophie, the conflict is even more painful. She knows who she really is. She knows she was born noble, even if the world refuses to recognize it. But how can she tell Benedict the truth? If she reveals that she was the woman at the ball, she must also reveal why she was pretending, why she ran, and what her real position in life is. She must confess that she is illegitimate, that she is a servant. That loving her could destroy everything he values. The fear of rejection is overwhelming. What if he sees her differently? What if the magic of that night cannot survive the harsh light of reality? Then there are the themes that make this story resonate so deeply. Identity and self-worth run through every moment of Sophie's journey. She must decide whether she will continue to accept how others define her or whether she will claim her own value regardless of circumstances. She must find the courage to stand up and say that she deserves love, deserves happiness, deserves respect, even when the entire world disagrees. Now let us talk about the actress who will bring Sophie Baek to life on our screens. Yerin Ha is a rising star who is about to become a household name, and her casting as Sophie is absolutely perfect. Yerin brings a unique combination of vulnerability and strength that Sophie desperately needs. She has the ability to convey deep emotion, with just a glance, to show you a character's entire inner world without saying a word. When you watch Yerin perform, you believe every moment, every feeling, every heartbreak. Yerin Ha is an Australian actress of Korean descent, and her previous work has already shown us that she has serious talent. She appeared in the series Halo, where she demonstrated her ability to handle complex characters in high-pressure situations. But Bridgerton will be different. This role requires someone who can be both delicate and fierce, someone who can cry beautifully but also stand her ground when challenged. Yerin has all of this and more. What makes her casting even more significant is what it represents for the Bridgerton universe. The show has always been committed to diverse, inclusive casting that reflects the world we live in today while telling stories set in the past. Yerin Ha's Sophie Baek continues this tradition in a beautiful way. She brings her own cultural background and perspective to a character who already exists on the margins of society. There is something powerful about seeing an Asian actress play a Cinderella story on one of the biggest shows in the world. Fans are already excited beyond measure. Social media exploded when Yerin's casting was announced, with people expressing their joy at seeing her take on this beloved role. The anticipation is building every single day. People are creating fan art, writing about what they hope to see, discussing costume ideas, and counting down the days until season 4 arrives. Yerin has big shoes to fill, following actresses like Simone Ashley and Nicola Coughlan, who became global sensations through Bridgerton. But everything we have seen suggests she is more than ready for this moment. So what can we actually expect when Bridgerton season 4 finally arrives on Netflix? First and foremost, prepare yourself for a romance that will absolutely wreck you emotionally. Benedict and Sophie's story is considered by many book fans to be one of the most romantic in the entire series. The longing, the tension, the obstacles they must overcome, all of it builds to moments that will have you crying, cheering, and possibly throwing things at your screen in frustration before you get the happy ending you desperately want Benedict's artistic journey will be front and center this season. We have watched him struggle with his identity across previous seasons, trying to find his place in a family of overachievers, questioning whether his art matters, wondering if he will ever find something or someone that makes him feel complete. Sophie becomes that missing piece, but not in a way that diminishes either character. Instead, she inspires him, challenges him, and helps him see the world through new eyes. Expect beautiful scenes of Benedict painting, sketching, creating art that reflects his growing love and understanding. The costumes are going to be absolutely spectacular. If you thought previous seasons delivered stunning wardrobe moments, just wait until you see what they do with Sophie's transformation scenes. That silver ball gown will be iconic, a dress that viewers will talk about for years, but equally important will be the contrast when we see Sophie in her servant clothes, the visual storytelling of a woman living two completely different existences. The Bridgerton costume department has never disappointed, and they will outdo themselves this season. Of course, the Bridgerton family dynamics will continue to delight us. We will see how the family reacts to Benedict's choices, how they support or challenge him, and how they ultimately come together in the way that makes this family so beloved. Expect appearances from Anthony and Kate, Colin and Penelope, and the rest of the Bridgerton siblings, each dealing with their own lives while watching Benedict navigate the most important decision he will ever make. Asterisk, the countdown to Bridgerton Season 4 has officially begun, and the excitement is reaching fever pitch. While Netflix has not announced an exact release date yet, all signs point to this season arriving sometime in the near future, and fans are ready to devour every single episode the moment it drops. This is the season we have been waiting for. The season that will give us Benedict's story, the season that introduces us to Sophie Baek and takes us on an emotional roller coaster we will never forget. Are you ready to fall in love with a servant girl who dared to dream? Are you ready to watch Benedict Bridgerton fight against every rule society has ever imposed for the woman who captured his heart? Are you ready for masked balls, secret identities, heartbreaking separations, and a love story that proves true? Connection sees beyond titles, beyond status, beyond everything except the human heart. Because that is exactly what Bridgerton Season 4 is bringing. And it is going to be magnificent. Sophie Baek is about to step into the spotlight. And she is going to remind us all why we fell in love with this show in the first place. She represents everyone who has ever been underestimated, everyone who has been told they are not good enough, everyone who has had to fight for the love and respect they deserve. Her story is a fairy tale, yes, but it is also deeply real, deeply human, and deeply moving. So mark your calendars, prepare your tissues, and get ready to binge watch the moment Season 4 drops on Netflix. Make sure you are subscribed to stay updated on all the latest Bridgerton news, behind-the-scenes content, and exclusive reveals as we get closer to the premiere. Turn on notifications so you do not miss a single update about Sophie and Benedict's journey. Share this with every Bridgerton fan you know, because we are all in this together. Waiting for the season that will give us everything we have been dreaming of. Sophie Baek is coming, and she is about to steal all of our hearts, just as she stole Benedict's on that magical night at the masquerade ball. The question is not whether you will fall in love with her story. The question is how many times you will rewatch it.